All right. I think I should be audible. Yeah, I think it's all good. All right. Everything seems to be up and running. All right. I don't seem to see any issues here. So, well, let's begin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you may be in the world. Welcome back to Aero League Racing. Let me get this right. Season 19 of the GR3 Championship, the Monday Championship. This is tier 3 white, round 1 at Suzuka. I tend to mix all my terms up. I've been doing comms for like 3 seasons for 3 different tiers, so I sometimes may end up saying tier 4 or tier 5 out of habit. So do forgive me for that. This is my first race, so I'm gonna take some time. First race doing comms for these guys. So let me just go through the order, see the drivers we have racing with us tonight. So it's a 14 driver lobby. And on pole position is Deco in the Alfa Romeo. I had the privilege of driving that car last season. Quite a nice car. Deco on the soft tires. Fancy locks in the M6. It's not the 6 Series, it is the M6. BMW in P2, also on the softs. I assume everybody is going to be in the softs for the sprint. Although I do expect to see some people struggle in the towards the end of the sprint race. I was struggling in the Beetle, so maybe there's some of the cars which are a little too demanding on their tires. I don't think I have the correct names enabled. Maybe there's the nicknames because I don't know who Kling Kachao is supposed to be, unless I am forgetting something. So Kling Kachao in the Jag is in P3. A Chiregin. I'm just gonna say the Lamborghini driver. I don't want to butcher all these names because I do not pronounce them properly. The Lamborghini driver is in P4. Cherry in the other BMW is P5. VCube, thank you for uploading the replay, is in P6. GMS Play, thank you for uploading the other replay, is in P7. Epsilon Delta, who jumped in to upload the replay. Thank you very much to all three of you for stepping up. Epsilon Delta and P8. So the two Lamborghinis are close together. The two BMWs also not that far apart. We can see one in P2, one in P5. And the Lambos are P4 and P8. So they're on the same side of the grid. Goose 87 in the McLaren is P9. Rocket in the NSX. It's not the Acura NSX. The NSX is in P10. Geordie in the rather nice liveried Supra is in P11. D-Dubs in the, I want to say 2016 GTR is P12. Nath in the Peugeot is 13th. And that doesn't seem to be anything going on there with the livery. And Arix Roblox is 14th in the McLaren, rounding off the grid for the sprint race. So I hope I am audible. I hope it's all my audio mix is correctly set. I sometimes have issues with this at the start of the season where I don't have the audio mix correctly set, but nonetheless, I think we are ready for lights out. So without any further ado, let's go. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights to begin season 19 of ALR GR3 Championship. And we go racing. Seems to be a good start for Deco. Fancy Locks has not got the best of starts. Already lost the position to Kling Kachao as you go towards turn 1. It's a very long right-hander, this one. Very tricky to get right. And you can see drivers going off there. I think that's a McLaren who's gone off. But what a start for Kling Kachao. Up into P2 and chasing after Deco. For the back, let's have a look. So I'm not sure who is that. That's probably, it is Goose 87. So has not had a very good start. I see Arix has made up a few positions. Deco leads, Kling Kachao in P2. This is Fancy Locks, I think, will try to make the most of the bad situation. Just wanting to get back up to speed after that unfortunate start to the race. VCube in a decent position. Cherry coming under pressure from the Lamborghini driver. Forgive me, I'll take a week or two to get used to the correct way of pronouncing these names. JMS in P7. Hello, how do I say? V Cube, U Cube. How do I go about saying your name? Just let me know. We can see here Fancy Locks putting Clinker Chow under quite a bit of pressure here as we go towards go through 270R. This is one of the. It is very easy to get distracted here. I got distracted a few times during my practice runs. Very easy to go onto the grass, but they all seem to be holding it together well. Into Spoon Corner we go. It is a very tricky corner to get right. It's so easy to just dip one wheel onto the Astro and go off the circuit, but they all seem to be getting through unscathed. Fancy goes slightly off circuit there as we approach 130R. That will not be very good for him because this gives V-Cube a chance to make a move for the back. I see some cars getting very close. Is V-Cube going to go for a move here into 130R? No, it's not. And watch out for Kling. I will watch out for Kling. What is Kling going to do into the Casio triangle? Deco goes deep into the corner. That is not going to help him out. Fancy Lock still stays ahead of V-Cube. For the back, let's have a look. Everybody seems to be getting through unscathed. Wow, as I say that, JMS goes onto the grass and has a little trip across the gravel as well, but still keeps it on track. I think he'll be happy to just be on track there after that little excursion. That was a little scary moment for him, and I see this is the NSX making the move. That's Rocket getting past JMS. D-Dubs now looking to get past the struggling Alfa Romeo. Once you get some dirt and gravel on your tires, you it's a little difficult to keep your composure. No, don't worry, JMS. I'm sure that is just a one-off appearance there. Where you made a mistake. I'm sure the rest of the sprint should be going better. Onwards and upwards, as we say. Up front, let's have a look. Kling is putting Deco under so much pressure as we go towards the into the left hand. I seem to have forgotten this name briefly of this corner from my watched a fair bit of F1, so I know some of the corner names around these tracks, but I can't remember this one. And somebody, whoa, that was somebody off track. So what happened to Fancy Locks here? Running very well in the BMW, up in P3 in the podium positions. And what's going to happen here to the BMW driver? So as you go into the left-hander, you're going to clip the grass, just put the power down a little too early. Oh, that's no grip there at when the power was put down. So falling down the order is the BMW driver. Lamborghini goes ahead, Cherry goes ahead, V-Cube now up into P3. V-Cube's in a great position, but look who's putting the Alfa Romeo driver under so much pressure. Kling Chow seems to have had the perfect start to this race. On lap 2 he's already challenging the race leader and the pole sitter for P1. As we go towards 130R, are we going to see a move being made here by the Jaguar driver? I don't think this. I'm going to be a little too optimistic here. Expect them to make a move. And as we go towards the Casio triangle, are we going to see a move down the inside, outside? No, they're going to hold position as they were. For the back, let's have a look. Fancy Locks will be eager to regain some of the positions that he's lost. Epsilon Delta running in a strong P7. Rocket, well, fending off JMS now. I think JMS has regained his composure and is now looking to get back into the rhythm and make some moves. So I think some action up front. I am going to rewind because this is the battle for the lead. Kling Chow versus Deco as we go down the main straight towards turn 1. It's a long right-hander. It's a very tricky braking zone, and it's even trickier when you're going to go side by side. There's contact, and Kling Chow, well, somehow this both keep it on track, and they're still side by side. But I think Kling Chow eventually has to yield. That was not the best camera work there from me, but that was some great racing from the pair of them. I was so worried it would end tears, but they managed to keep it clean. And we go through the S's here. One of the most iconic parts in all of this amazing racetrack. The only figure of 8 racetrack, well, not in the world. I'm used to F1 terminology, sorry. This is a beautiful figure of 8 racetrack, and are we going to see a beautiful move being made here by Fancy Locks into Degner 1, possibly into Degner 2? No, Fancy Locks will hold back for now. Epsilon Delta is steadily, I think, putting Fancy under a bit more pressure. Fancy will be rather upset with that mistake that happened on the previous lap. As we go into this left-hander here, this is where it all went downhill for Fancy last lap. This time around it seems to be all fine and dandy. Cherry is putting VCube under some pressure here. As we go through 270R approaching the spoon corner, are we going to see a move possibly down the straight approaching 130R? Up front, Klinkachow still right there. Deco is having to really work for it in order to keep the Jaguar behind. And it seems to be going pretty well for the two Jaguars. They're running second and third right now. Cherry putting VCube under quite a bit of pressure. As we go towards 130R, are we going to see a move? This time around, I don't think so. Klinkachow is still too far behind to make anything of it. However, we have a battle brewing here between the BMW and the Jaguar, and there is contact between VCube and Cherry. And in all this, one might assume that the Lamborghini driver, the Italian Lamborghini driver, may get involved. I would really like to know how to say the name. I would, but I will just stick to the Lamborghini driver for now. Cherry and the Lamborghini gonna go side by side for the back. Fancy looking to get interested in making a move possibly into turn one. We go, and that is a little bit of contact between Cherry and Fancy, and Epsilon Delta also getting involved there. But I think they will all hold position. That was so incredibly close between the four of them. And despite all that, they still actually hold position. Cherry now moves up into P4, and you see the frustration that he wants to get past the Jaguar driver, but just doesn't seem to have a way past for now. Kling is putting Deco under lots of pressure, but Deco does not seem to be crumbling under that pressure. He's still holding P1, even if it's not by much. He's still holding up under pressure quite well. For the back, let's have a look. This is getting very interesting. This is the battle I think that we're gonna watch. It's usually the midfield that provides the best battles across all the songs that I've done, and I'm glad to say that this does not seem to be disappointing in me one bit. VCube coming under so much pressure, 4 cars behind him, just putting under such immense pressure. Deco being put under immense pressure as well from Klinkachow. Let's just have a brief look down the order while they go towards 130R at what's going on at the back of the field. So GMS is a little ways behind Epsilon. D-Dubs is having a bit of a quiet race. Goose in P-Turn also having a bit of a quiet race. So I can see a few battles brewing here. I don't think Nath has had a very good start to the race. 4 laps in is a few car lengths behind the rest of the next cars. So I don't think there must have been some contact there for Nath in the Peugeot. You can expect to see Arix and Goose battle it out, and I think let's get back to the racing. So I just want to make sure to capture all aspects of the field as far as possible. As we go through 130R, Deco and Kling still very close. What about these guys further back? VCube, Cherry onto the grass, onto the Astro there, would have lost a bit of grip as a result, and may lose some traction coming out of the final corner. And I heard I think it was some gravel being kicked up there, not sure, but up front, and well, I just seem to be missing the key parts to this battle, don't I? Deco and Klinkachow, let's have a look once again, this time from a nice cinematic perspective. I think Deco did not get the best exit out of the last corner. That's going to put him under so much pressure. Klinkachow is going to draw level, draw alongside, and I think make the move. However, Deco is not too far behind either. I think Deco will not be wanting to give this up without a fight, and there's a little bit of contact there, but Klinkachow has now taken the lead of the race. On lap 5, the Danish Jaguar driver moves up into the lead of the sprint race. VCube, his teammate, is in P3. Lamborghini driver in P4. Sheregin. I'm gonna keep making some attempts here and there. Don't mind me. Fancy Locks trying to make some moves up the order, back up to P3. But that is where Fancy Locks was, the Brazilian BMW driver. So let's see what Fancy can do. Cherry, his teammate, is right behind him in P6. Epsilon is sticking to the tail end of this field. Oh! That was a little snap there, and JMS suggesting that I should just call him A. Alright. For now, I'm going to just call him A. So A in the Lamborghini would be, I think, a better way to go about it. So let's pick up on that once we reach 130R. Klinkachow. Well, Deco's still putting him under some pressure here, but I think I don't expect to see any moves being made here unless there's something that's going to happen at 130R. So for the back, oh, Cherry having a massive movement there, and that is going to open the door, and Epsilon Delta is going to take P6 off Cherry. Cherry moves on to P7. JMS is still a long way back. I would assume that JMS will be trying to regain his composure, maybe not enjoying the Alfa Romeo on this first round of the season, because everybody is driving some new cars, so maybe it takes a little bit of time to get used to your new cars. Cherry struggling it seems, and as we start lap 6, he's actually fallen back quite a ways from this trailing pack. Despite that, oh, what's happened here? Deco's picked up a penalty. I think that maybe for a corner cut on the final chicane at the Casio triangle. A in the Lamborghini is still chasing after V-Cube. Fancy Locks is putting the Lamborghini under so much pressure, however, and I'm assuming as we go through the S's, maybe into Degner we could see a move. Fancy Locks, if he's being very brave here, well, that will not help his case. The BMW driver just having to take a moment to keep the car under control, or I was very worried he would run into the gravel trap there. Epsilon in the Lando is showing good pace. I would assume that his sights are set on the podium, which is definitely a possibility here with 3 laps to go, including this one. Well, the Degner 2 seems to be a bit of a problem for Epsilon. Shouldn't be pushing there too much. May end up in a bit of a fishtail moment for the Lamborghini driver as we go through this left-hander. As we go through 270R, V-Cube has got a decent exit. What about Deco? He has a penalty to serve. Klinkachow in a pretty comfortable lead right now. Deco, let's see what comes of Deco's race. V-Cube being put under pressure by the Lamborghini of A. Is that how I go about it? I think that is how I go about it. Fancy Locks coming under pressure from Epsilon. Cherry's fallen back from the back and actually is falling into the clutches of JMS Play, who seems to be just building up his confidence lap by lap and looking to make some moves. Let's see how he can go about it. Into the final corner we go. Are we going to see any moves here? What about Deco? Deco served this penalty, and I think he's going to start lap 7 about, what is it, 1.2 seconds behind Klinkachow. This is the penultimate lap. It is a crucial time in the race because drivers, they need to make their moves before the end of the race, obviously. And let's see if the Lamborghini can get past V-Cube. However, V-Cube's been very strong the whole race. This presently will put V-Cube in P8 for the feature race. So let's see how well they go about in the feature race as well. But for now, we have the sprint to look out for. And look at the state of V-Cube's front left versus the Lamborghini's front left. It's worlds apart almost. Fancy Stars, I think, are in a bit of a mid spot there as compared to the two ahead of him. Epsilon Star is also in pretty good condition. Cherry in the BMW. JMS is slowly but steadily catching up. Will he have enough laps to catch up though? And will Cherry also be able to hold on to P7? Someone we really need to look out for is these two. The battle for P10, although I don't think it's really a battle right now. B-Dubs is a long way behind Arix. So at the moment it will be a McLaren 1-2 as for the race start, for the feature race start. That's going to be interesting. We're going to see some tactics here possibly for the race start. Obviously starting in pole for the feature race is very beneficial around here given the tricky nature of turn 1. And also the fact that this rolling start will make it a little bit easier for them. So the two McLarens presently may not be having a very good race, but they have a very good chance of making amends for that in the feature. Deco is going to use up all the pace that he can from this Alfa Romeo as we are about to start the final lap of this sprint race. Klinkachow leads, but I think Klinkachow should have it covered off. As we start the last lap, Klinkachow has the fastest lap and is trying to break the slipstream. He is not taking any chances here. He wants to avoid Deco getting any advantage. And And as we go towards turn 1, what about V Cube and A in the Lamborghini? Well, actually, he's coming under pressure from Fancy Locks, so don't discount Fancy either. We could see the BMW make a move into, I want to say, the braking zone just before 270R in Sector 2. Epsilon putting Fancy under some pressure, so, well, if these two come to blows, the Lamborghini and the BMW, Epsilon could really have a fantastic end to his sprint race. Cherry has not had a very pleasant sprint race, but I think it's going to just be a respectable P7 for him. It's going to give him an advantage in this feature. What about these guys? Let's have a look. Last lap, Epsilon is going to be aggressive. Fancy is going to be aggressive. The Lamborghini driver will actually is the one coming under the most amount of pressure right now. What about V Cube? V Cube has been able to withstand the pressure for all these 8 laps. Up front, Deco is putting Kling under a lot of pressure, but I don't think it's close enough. Deco, I think, will have to settle for P2 in this sprint race. Further back, oh, I think is that Epsilon trying to go for a move there. For a moment it looked like it. At least I think he's scared Fancy into giving him some extra room there. As we go through Spoon Curve, what a move, Epsilon. He's managed to force his way through, but now they're going to go side by side towards 130R. This is a very tricky corner in normal circumstances, let alone when you have a car drawing level alongside you as you go towards it. And what's going to happen here? Who's going to back out? Somebody will have to back out, or there's going to be a bit of a moment there. And I think, yeah, Fancy Locks just had to yield at the end there. Much against his wishes, Fancy Locks has had to yield, and he falls down to P6. What a race though for Kling Kachao and Deco, well done. V Cube finishes sprint in P3, Sergin in P4, Epsilon gets P5 right at the end there. Fancy in P6, Cherry will be a little disappointed with P7. What a finish there, however, with Fancy and Epsilon. That was lovely racing to watch. JMS in P8, Goose in P9, and Arix in P10. That is going to give them P1 and P2 for the feature race. D-Dubs finishes P11, won't be very happy with that, I think. North in P12, and I think we have lost someone. Rocket finishes the race in an unlucky 13th place. So with that, we conclude the sprint, and now we move on to the features. So I'm very keen to see how that's gonna unfold, and this is the JMS play. Thank you, JMS, for uploading the replay once again. So I'm very keen to see how the strategy pans out for these guys. It's a I want to say it's a 20 lap race. Yeah, 8 and 20. So I have quickly changed that up, and there you go. So having finished 9th and 10th in the well, I should say 10th and 9th in the sprint race, respectively, Arix and Goose are now starting in P1 and P2. And let's have a look at their tire choices. So Arix opting for the hard tires, and I can see an oh no there. I assume a lot of us were caught out by the rain in yesterday's race, possibly. Well, let's see how this race pans out. Goose in P2 on the mediums, so the McLaren's going for spread strategies. GMS also on the hards in P3. Cherry is also on the hards in P4 in the BMW. Fancy Locks follow suit in P5. Epsilon in in the Lamborghini is on the soft tires. All right. So we have the 3 different tire compounds across the top 6 already. What about Cherry? Well, A is on the hards. V Cube is on the mediums, and he's asked me not to look at him as we go towards turn 1. I can't say I can guarantee that, but well, I'm very keen to see how this pans out for you. V Cube, Deco in P9 in the Alpha is on the hards, and our sprint winner Kling Kachao is starting in P10 also on the hards. So a lot of people opting for the hards. It's really surprising. I wouldn't have expected that. I would have thought most would go for the mediums, but nonetheless, D-Dubs on the hards, not on the hards as well, and Rocket rounds off the grid also on the hard. So most drivers are on the hards, I think, save for Goose and another driver, Goose and V Cube, and I'm missing it. Oh yeah, Epsilon. Everybody else is on the hard tires. So well, now V Cube. Now we must focus on you. We must. However, I will get back to it once we go through the race start. And Arix will lead us away. Crosses the line, and this is going to be a rolling start as usual. Lap 1 of 20 begins, and the lights, you can hear them but you can't see them. They've gone off, and we go racing 20 laps around Suzuka. This is the feature race. Arix leads the way, Goose not too far behind. JMS will be hoping for a better feature than sprint, and I can see some chaos for the back. Is something going to happen there? We are all waiting to see what happens to V Cube, Cherry, and what about Fancy Locks, Epsilon, and V Cube? Well, I must go back. I must go back and have a look. So between the Lamborghini and the Jag, and that seems to be rather normal contact, unless it's supposed to be for another lap. Didn't seem to be too chaotic there. However, the top 5 are separated by nothing, as you can see here. It is anybody's game here, and I think once again Fancy is coming under pressure from Epsilon, and Epsilon has made the move on Fancy. However, he's gone into the gravel there, and Fancy moves back up into P5. So this seems to be another battle that we need to follow, a sub-battle, you might say. Oh, the two McLarens are going at it. I wouldn't have expected that. Arix and Goose battling it out. Arix stumbling down the order. He started in pole, and now he's in danger of falling down to P6 by the end of this braking zone. Whoa, into the left-hander we go, the slow left-hander. Whoa, who's that? That's a Lamborghini of A, who is coming in rather steaming hot. Oh, there's contact with V Cube, and oh my word, yeah, nothing that I think the Lamborghini could have done there, and that's going to open up the door for Kling Kachow to move up into P7, and whoa, there's so much contact. This is the chaos you love to see. You just love to see this chaos. Kling Kachow already up to P7, a lot of chaos up and down the field. Arix will be rather upset, and Goose has been overtaken. JMS moves up into the lead of this race. It is not even the end of lap 1, and the driver in P3 has moved up into the lead, but from what I see in the comments there, that may have been a little argy-bargy there as we go into Spoon Corner. And what are we going to see here? Oh, never mind, I think that's JMS just talking about the contact at the previous corner. Epsilon coming in hot into the exit of Spoon, and that's going to allow Arix to move ahead of Cherry. Cherry now down to P5, Fancy in P6. I'm sorry. Kling Kachow in P7. Cherrigan is falling down the order. Deco will not be happy either, and as we go towards 130R, are we going to see any moves? Oh, that's somebody off circuit. That's Arix. That's Fancy Locks following suit. As we go into the last chicane, there's contact. There is a lot of chaos here, and whoa, I'm not entirely sure drivers are going to be particularly oh my word. Well, that's not the way you want your races to go, do you? Kling Kachow can see the two ahead of him go off, Arix and Fancy, and he goes down the inside. There's not a whole lot of room, but he manages to find some space. As we exit the chicane, however, there's going to be some contact with Fancy Locks, and that is going to send Kling Kachow, our sprint winner, into the wall, and he now has damage as well. And two other cars, Nath has had a moment. I don't remember seeing that. I did see Arix have a moment there. So Arix, I think, was just unfortunate and unlucky to get caught up in that. And there you go, just getting caught up in that moment. And let me have a look at what happened to Nath, because I thought he was at the tail end of the order, so wouldn't have expected him to get involved in any moments here. Oh, what's happened? Oh, there's a lot of chaos, and oh, in avoidance, Nath has had to take the gravel. That caps off a very eventful lap 1, and we have another 19 similar laps to go through. Let's hope for similar chaos and entertainment throughout. I'm not sure some drivers will be happy, particularly Kling will be very upset, having shown some fantastic pace. He'll be very upset with now being down in P11. But as we say, the race is long and it's never over until the flag drops. Let's see how strategy pays off for him. On for the recovery? Absolutely. And this is The battle is on. Epsilon, the only driver to start on the softs, is attacking Goose. Oh, that may have been a bit of a desync there. That is quite clearly the best example of a desync. And yeah, possibly that may have been helpful, but then again, hindsight is always 2020. Once we see the other angles, we realize that we could have done something differently. That is always the good thing about being sprint racing. It always prompts you to do better. But nonetheless, that was a good attempt by you, Kling. That was very opportunistic. It didn't pay off now, but doesn't mean it won't pay off other times. Up front, let's have a look. Oh, Epsilon is going off the circuit, and that was... well, it was almost contact there. So Epsilon chasing after Goose. Epsilon is desperate to get past the McLaren driver. As we go into Spoon Corner, he's gone a bit hot into the corner there. And as he rejoins, is there contact? There seems to be a very minor bit of contact there, so it doesn't seem like it's going to affect either of their races. However, Epsilon is the driver who needs to make the moves quick. He's on the softs, and they are going to wear out very quickly comparative to those around him. Goose on the mediums, so well, Goose takes to the grass slightly, and as we go into the chicane, Epsilon is going to go for the dive here, and there is bound to be a little bit of contact. No, they actually keep it very clean and respectful. Nicely done. Four seasons in, and the commentators still is in complete effect there. Goose and Epsilon make a little bit of contact. Goose tumbles down to P3. Cherry and Goose make a little bit of contact there, and I think it's not gonna affect them much. But what's happening to Epsilon Delta? He's spun and he's tumbling down the order. Oh, what happened to Epsilon? Did he clip the grass, or did he just go into the corner a bit too hot? Whoa! And I think lucky for Goose and Cherry, Epsilon went towards the grass rather than staying on the track. That's a spin for the only soft tire runner. Epsilon falls down to P8. He was running P2 moments ago and is now VQ and P7 ahead of him. What about Deco? Deco was very promising in the start of the sprint, although it didn't pan out very well for him. He finished P2. We would expect that he will have the pace to challenge those ahead of him. What about GMS? GMS is in a very good position, up in the lead. Lap 3 has a decent lead ahead of Goose. Cherry in P3. A in the Lamborghini in P4. Deco looking to make some moves. Fancy Locks will be next up the road, and I think Deco's got a good exit. However, I'm assuming the BMW has better straight line advantage than the Alpha does, and I think that is the case. Fancy Locks will hold on to P5, and somebody saying first of 5 spins. Well, I would hope that's not the case. I assume that's you, Epsilon. Hello, Epsilon. If that is you. There's battles going on down the order. So Kling has moved up into P10. It was P11, I think, a lap ago. So already up into top 10. As we go into the final chicane, there's a bit of a field spread right now. So I won't expect to see a lot of battles between those up front. Kling and Rocket, maybe Rocket's putting Kling under a bit of pressure. Arix he'll be coursing his luck. He was leading the race about 2 laps ago, and now he finds himself in last position. Nath will also be upset. Had it not been for that contact, Nath could have very well been, I think, around about where D-Dubs is right now, if he had just managed to choose the right line through all that chaos. But let's see. The Peugeot is a pretty good car. I would expect Nath to be able to make some inroads. Sorry. As we go through the S's, Fancy Locks and A are, I think, going to engage in some battling. What about Goose? Goose and JMS. So Goose has taken, I think, a lap or two to just get a clamp test to the medium tires, how they handle, and the McLaren's handling of it. So let's see how well Goose can put GMS under pressure. GMS in the alpha is on the hard, so he has to play the long game. He would, I assume, be aware of Goose being on the mediums, and the fact that most others have opted for the hards, very few have opted for something different. So let's see, maybe by the end of the next lap, we might see GMS and Goose battling it out for the race lead. For the back, let's have a look. Epsilon after that spin, look at the state of his front left. That spin has done him no good, and I think he'll have to pit, I would assume, a lap earlier than what he would have liked to it, at the very least. As a result of that, V-Cube putting Epsilon under pressure. Kling and D-Dubs battling it out, and Kling has moved up into P9. Well done to Kling Kachav. Goose currently has the fastest lap, but I did see Kling get a purple sector there. So are we going to see Kling Kachav in the Jaguar steal the fastest lap of Goose 87? As we exit the Casio Triangle, the final corner, final chicane, Fancy Locks is into the pit lane. He's on the hards. Is it going to rain? Of course, that is something I hadn't considered. So nobody's race is over yet. There is still a long way to go, and I'm sure every lobby had some semblance of rain. So we're going to see a bit of a rainy race. What's happened to V-Cube? V-Cube, was there contact, or was that just a bit of a mistake on his end? So as we go into turn 1, that's Epsilon having a bit of a moment, and V-Cube just going off in sympathy. Well, it is very distracting sometimes to see the driver ahead of you go off, and as a result you make that mistake and go off yourself. I had that mistake as well yesterday. For the back, let's have a look. So Fancy Locks has got a 3-second penalty. That is not going to do him any favors. However, he has moved on to the intermediates, but the track is still dry. Has he bolted on this set of tires a little too early? You can already see, I think by the end of the S's we'll have a look at his tire wear, because that will not be doing himself any favors. Fancy Locks, he will be someone we'll have to look out for over the next few laps. GMS and Goose. Goose is still putting GMS under a lot of pressure as we go through to 70R, approaching Spoon Curve. Are we going to see GMS be overtaken by Goose? What about Cherry? Cherry in P3. A in the Lamborghini in P4. So approaching Spoon Curve, Goose and GMS very close, but I think they will still hold position. And is there any rain? Let's have a look from the interior of Goose's McLaren, and I don't think there is any rain right now. GMS, I can see a few. No, that's just dirt on my monitor, I'm sorry. That's not raindrops. GMS going through 130R, and well, if this is the case, Fancy Locks has made a pretty crucial mistake, because by the time the rain arrives, he would have worn out his tires quite a fair bit, and they would be really overly hot as well. We start lap 6, GMS and Goose still hold position out in front. Cherry is doing well to just keep it consistent. Well done, that was a very consistent lap time there, not far off his personal best. Cheragin in the Lamborghini in P4, Deco in P5, Epsilon stays out. He can see the imminent rain, and there you can see the wipers deploying on the Lamborghini, and once again there seems to be a half spin for Epsilon, but he managed to keep it under control. Well done, Epsilon. V-Cube has once again gone off the circuit there. What's happened? The second lap in a row, V-Cube had an issue at turn 1, so maybe it's just the braking zone that's catching out the Spanish Jaguar driver. Kling Kachav moves up into P7, D-Dubs moves up into P8, but D-Dubs has a penalty. Rocket in P10. Nath has stayed out, Arix has stayed out, and look at Fancy Locks. I would assume the rain is isolated to certain parts of the track. I could see it from the Lamborghini's perspective, from A's perspective, as we go through Degno 1 and 2. This is crucial. We are going to see the wipers deploy, so GMS's wipers are deploying while Goose is not having his wipers deploy. So, well, this is crucial. I don't see that bottom left, the standing water indicator, or the whatever the, I don't know the correct term for it. That indicator, once it starts to fill up, you know that it's time to come in and box. Fancy Locks has burned through almost half of his intermediate tires already. That is not going to do him any good. The rain, I think, is here to stay. Goose in P2 will be... Let's have a look from the onboard camera. Well, I don't see any rain right now, but I would assume the situation on track is different, and I can hear the raindrops. Is that the case, or is that just the engine noise? GMS clipping a little bit of the grass there as we go through 130R into the Casio Triangle, the last chicane, and this will really determine what the situation seems to be like. Are we going to see GMS drive into the pits? No, we're not. Neither is Goose. Cherry and A also stay out. A is putting Cherry under a lot of pressure as we start lap 7 of 20. Epsilon is pitting, and I'm assuming that's going to be a gamble onto the inters as well as you go towards turn 1. A versus Cherry, and A makes the move, and I think there's a little bit of contact there. A gets out of shape but keeps it under control and moves up into P3. Cherry falls down to P4. Deco in the Alpha is, I think, just trying to keep it on track right now. I think the rain is imminent. It's only a matter of time. Klinkachow in the Jaguar in P6. So his teammates having a pretty up and down race. V-Cube is down to P8. The race doesn't seem to be going particularly his way, although he is still in the top 10, so anything's possible. Rocket in P9, we've not spoken a lot about him. He's been towards the tail end of the field today, so let's see, that could very well change. Nath in P10, up in the top 10, I think, for the first time in this race. Arix P11. Epsilon also has a penalty, and crucially though, Epsilon has gone onto a set of medium tires, which is obviously a dry compound. Which begs the question, was Fancy Locks just a little too optimistic there in hoping for the rain? Well, this is really gonna get feisty here, because the sky does look really properly overcast. One would expect there to be rain, but it doesn't seem to be hitting the track anytime soon. Goose putting GMS under so much pressure at the end of lap 7. Towards the end of lap 7 we go through 130R. Goose keeps it within the white lines. For a moment I expected him to go off track there with the speed that he was carrying. Well done, Goose. Into the Casio Triangle we go, final chicane. As we exit onto the main straight again, Goose has taken a little bit too much curbing there, went a little off circuit, and that has offset his momentum. Had he not made that mistake, he would have been right on the tail of GMS. Well, Deco Singh almost followed Fancy into the pits. Well, let's have a look. So I think that is a pretty good call then. Sometimes you just have to stick to your gut instinct there, because while the sky seems to be very overcast, there is no rain falling onto the track, and I am assuming Fancy Locks will have to make a decision here. Does he pit, go onto the softs and just hold it out until the next safety car window? And there you go, Fancy Locks is coming into the pits, and that seemed to be right on the edge of the pit entry line, the white line there, the solid white line. I would hope for his sake he doesn't get another penalty, because he's already in a pretty far back behind the rest of the field. Goose and GMS, are we going to see Goose make a move into this left-hander? GMS covers the inside, he knows that there's a threat behind from the McLaren of Goose. All this has allowed A to catch up, however is also not particularly enjoying these hards, I think, as we could see with that little snap there. Cherry in P4. Deco is putting Cherry under pressure, and that's, I think, Epsilon saying that there's some Inters level rain on the radar, but it missed the track. Well, it is very, very unfortunate from Fancy. Up front, what's happening here? Between Goose and GMS play, this has been the battle at hand for so many laps. GMS goes off circuit there, I think in a bit to just carry as much speed as he could through 130R, and that is not gonna do him any good unless he can still manage to regain composure and get a good exit onto the main straight. However, this time around Goose is a lot closer. He should be in the slipstream from the very get-go, and there you go, he's into the slipstream. He's on the mediums. It is lap 9, and once we start lap 9, are we going to see a change in the lead of this race? Goose versus GMS, and Into turn 1 we go, and GMS I think has just about managed to hang on. That was not a mistake that GMS can afford to make too many times over the course of this race, and the sun is coming out. Fancy Locks will be so upset with the way this has panned out in terms of the weather. Goose in P2. I'm very keen to see when these guys decide to box, because it's going to be very critical. Any one of these guys could be in the net lead of the race towards the end. Goose, I'm assuming, will be probably going for a medium to hard, while those around him, Fancy, A, Cherry, Deco, all these guys can go for a hards to softs if their car and driving style pairs well. I think Goose will have to box now, because there's a spin. What happened there? Was there contact? Or was that just a bit too eager on throttle there from Goose? Puts down the power and loses the car into the grass. Tires are slightly damaged, and he's trying to rejoin, and that was clattering the barriers. I'm surprised that's not damage there for Goose, but there you go, how quickly fortunes can change. Goose 87, who was in P2, has now fallen to P6 and is coming under pressure from D-Dubs. V-Cube also in the background there, just looking to make the most of it. Kling Kachao, P5, right behind Deco. If I am remembering this correctly, and I think I am, Kling had a huge moment on the first lap, and he's already back up into P5. He's not that far behind the race lead either, so it's like Martin putting the... Well, I've just started following MotoGP slightly this year, so I don't think I will get that reference, although I will be looking to catch up on some MotoGP over the course of time. Previous seasons of MotoGP have been quite interesting to watch. But let's see, it was a gamble from Fancy Locks. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Well, the race is not over yet though. Fancy Locks could still somehow manage to get into the top 10, providing he can... Although I think that will be a little difficult to use. I think a pit stop behind the next car, Epsilon in P12. Let's have a look at those. So we presently have... Alright, I think I was just going down the order to see who else was in the medium. So Goose will have to pit sometime soon. The McLaren is rather kind on his tires, although it is lap 10. Goose will have to make a decision. I think Goose may be actually wanting to go for the softs, maybe taking it till lap, I want to say 12. Goose will probably wanting to do something like that. V-Cube, yes, is the other driver on the medium, the Spanish driver. V-Cube has not enjoyed turn 1 very much, gone off there twice in successive laps. Rocket is having a quiet race, but he's keeping it on track. I think that is very crucial part of it all. North in P10 as well, not a lot of chaos going on his end, apart from that little bit of contact earlier on. North in P10. Arix will not be very happy with how the race has panned out. Down in P11. Epsilon Delta has made a pit stop, but my question is, will the mediums last till the end of the race at pace? Will they be able to provide him ample pace till the end of this race? We have 10 laps to go once we cross the line. And what do these guys do? JMS, A, Cherry, Deco, Linkachau. Are we going to see anybody dive into the pits? We are! GMS into the pits, A into the pits. Cherry, I think, has stayed out. What about Deco? Deco pits and Kling stays out. So we are seeing the hard tire runners pit for a fresh set of tires. Is it going to be mediums, or is somebody going to take the gamble for soft tires? D-Dubs is also pitting. Goose is pitting. V-Cube has stayed out. I think V-Cube wants to try his luck on the softs, although I think that will be a little too optimistic there for V-Cube. And JMS saying, oh no. Whatever's going to happen here for JMS play, they are inside one another. Ghosted on one another, and JMS picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that is not how you want your race to go. In the slightest, A is on the mediums, JMS on the mediums has a penalty. Deco has opted for the mediums as well. Epsilon has pitted earlier. Deco also has a penalty. So JMS and Deco will not be particularly happy. Yeah, I was expecting something similar, JMS. I was wondering how you're going to get through without having some trouble there. And yeah, I think that just throws your whole race off balance. It's very, very annoying to get a pit lane cut penalty. Epsilon, I'm interested to see how well he can manage his tires. Deco almost traveling towards the gravel there, keeps it under control. Goose is onto the hards. Alright. Playing it safe, doesn't want to take risks, and I think we can all respect that. He's not wanting to take any undue risks here. D-dubs onto the mediums, not onto the mediums as well. Fancy Locks is still a long ways back, but never say never. Cherry, Kling, V-Cube, Rocket, and Arix are the only ones yet to pit. It's very crucial now. Where will Cherry come out in regards to JMS and A by the time we exit the pits? Let's see. Cherry will probably be boxing. Cherry is boxing. Will the overcut work for Cherry, or has the undercut worked for Cherry King and JMS? JMS, I think less so, has the penalty to serve. Deco having to slow down. Epsilon Delta is blazing towards JMS. I think it's a battle between Cherry and the Lamborghini of A. And the Lamborghini is being slowed down by Arix's car. Arix obviously under no compulsion to let A by. And Rocket has stayed out. What about Cherry? Cherry is going to take on some fuel. And I think actually he's going to come out. He's taken on a little extra fuel, I think. He's going to come out behind Epsilon. And where's Deco in regards to all this? Deco is behind Kling Kachao now. So that 3-second penalty really hurting JMS and Deco's chances. Lap 12 of 20, and we are yet to see 3 drivers pit. No, two drivers pit, my apologies. Arix and Rocket. Rocket, I think, should be considering pitting. I think if he pits now, he'll come out around about where these guys are, Goose and D-dubs, with how the pit lane is. Not having a bit of a quiet race. V-Cube has opted for the softs. How will that play out? 9 laps on the softs, including this one. I think V-Cube's given himself a bit of a tall mountain to climb here, because I don't think the softs will last till the end of the race. Watch Rocket after the chicane. Well, absolutely I will. Thank you, JMS. A in the Lamborghini is in the net lead of the race. The next competitor is about, I think, 7 odd seconds behind him, 7.5 seconds behind him. Epsilon has pitted early, but Epsilon has older tires. Will Epsilon be able to get it to the end? Find out by lap 20. Cherry being put under pressure by Kling Kachao and Deco, and I'm supposed to have a look at what Rocket does out of the chicane. So lap 12 of 20, Rocket is the driver I'm spectating, as I have been suggested to, as we exit the chicane. And what's going to happen here? Rocket is this lap or the next? Oh, alright. When you're next to him, alright, I will be having a look at that. So Arix and Rocket are staying out. They want to go onto the soft tires. I'm assuming it is going to be lap 15 for the pair of them, possibly, when they're going to pit. And we are running out of time in this race. Rocket and Arix really need to choose the perfect time to pit. They need to have enough laps in the race left to make the moves on the soft tires. A in the Lamborghini has already caught up to the back of Rocket. JMS will slowly but steadily catch up to the back of Arix as well. Epsilon, I think, has realized at this point that he'll have to do quite a bit of tire conservation in order to bring the car home till the end of the race. And I think he can do that because Cherry is a few seconds behind. Epsilon can take it a little kinder on his tires, although I think that was a little off track moment there for Epsilon. A gets a much better exit compared to Rocket. NSX versus the Huracan, and as we go through to 70R, approaching Spoon Corner, A and Rocket are going to be very close. They're not going to go side by side yet. A goes for the move, and Rocket, I think, just had to take some evasive action there in order to keep himself on track. It is so close between these two. This is the battle for the lead. Although one car has to pit, this is still a battle for the lead. Rocket on old tires, A on new tires. Rocket is trying his level best to keep the Lamborghini behind him, and I think A knows that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to fight someone who's yet to pit. He knows that the net lead is his. Playing it smart, playing the long game. A stays behind Rocket, and I think he'll want to line up the move into turn 1. Rocket is still ahead, but A gets a better exit. It's a matter of which car has the better straight line speed advantage. Alex is still ahead of GMS. A is losing quite a bit of time being stuck behind Rocket. As we go towards turn 1, are we going to see a move being made here? A versus Rocket, and A breezes by. I don't think Rocket had any grip to play around with there. And Rocket falls to P2. Alex is still ahead, and yes, I am very keen to have a look at that. In fact, I'm going to rewind to have a look at that. So here we see Cherry being chased after by Deco and Kling Kachao, and I think one of them is not going to get a very good exit here on the last chicane, or maybe it's just a slipstream effect. Kling is going to get the slipstream from 2 cars. That is going to give him an immense advantage down the main straight. As we go towards turn 1, what's it going to be? Deco trying to move around the outside, Cherry still holding on to the inside. They're going to go side by side through turns 1, through the first corner, and Deco, I think, will take the lead. No, Cherry just finds a way back past, and will Kling Kachao find a way past Deco? Will Deco yield? I think he will have to. That is not the ideal part of the track where you want to be, and Kling Kachao is up into P7. Well, this has been a race of ups and downs for Kling Kachao. That crash on the first lap seems like it was so long ago. He's had stellar pace. Cherry in P6, he's also holding on pretty well. And I think this is the lap which GMS wanted to mention, because Rocket is on old tires. GMS is catching up to him. Well, let's see. V-Cube has the fastest lap. V-Cube's on the soft tires. Will they last till the end? Lap 14 of 20. Stay tuned to find out. I don't know why I keep bringing that up. Nath, I think, has made a bit of a mistake, possibly. I think he was running in P11. Oh no, I think V-Cube overtook him, yeah. T-Dubs and Goose battling it out. Goose, after that spin, I don't think I think his confidence would have gone downwards after that moment. I think there you go. This is what we have been told to look out for. GMS versus Rocket. GMS play in the Alfa Romeo, Rocket in the NSX. Rocket yet to pit. I think I see where this is going. I think let's be on cinematic camera with GMS play here. We'll get back to Cherry, Kling and Deco in a moment. Let's have a look at GMS and Rocket as we exit the final chicane. And are we going to see... Whoa, Rocket. It is exactly what I thought. He needed to stick to the inside line, and GMS... We can't blame GMS, he just wanted to make the most of it, and that is Rocket's race unfolding before your very eyes. Goes into the pit lane. I'm sure that's going to be a pit entry cut as well. Look at this battle. It's so amazing to watch. Cherry and Kling Kachao going for a move down the inside. He sends the dummy. Somebody's gone off circuit. That's Epsilon, who's on old tires. He's had a spin. Half spin at least. So I think he keeps it under control. And Kling Kachao is up into P4. When RX boxes, it's going to become P3. Kling Kachao is looking set for a double podium. It was a win in the sprint. It could be P3, possibly P2, depending on his pace. What a weekend for Kling Kachao. This has been the ideal start to his season. RX obviously has to pit. There is no real threat here. Although RX could, the only thing that he could do now is slow Kling Kachao down. Through Degner 2 we go. RX still ahead. Kling Kachao has been showing some amazing pace. I think he's eager to make the move into this left-hander, possibly trying to go for the switchback. RX will try to block it off, but does he have the tire grip to do so on corner exit? I don't think he does. Kling has made the move, but Arix is still there. He is on no obligation to yield, but I think he will logically be doing so. Deco and Cherry battling it out. Arix, you can see in the foreground there, just yielding to Kling Kachao. There is no point in battling somebody who's on fresher tires. I think Arix will be boxing this lap. Cherry is being held up by Arix now. So this is the opportunity for Deco. Deco needs to capitalize on this massively because he knows Cherry, will he take the risk on going down the inside? Whoa, what was that? I don't think Cherry will be very happy with that. Arix has gone off circuit. Arix rejoins behind Deco. And Deco going for the move down the inside, sends it. And he's made it stick. Well done, Deco. That was opportunistic. I wouldn't have expected him to make the move there. I thought it would be down the main straight. So let's have a look. Just under-braking a lovely move there by Deco. I think Cherry just saw it coming and decided to not fight it too much, maybe wanting to build up his momentum over the next few moments. And Arix, I think, has cut the pit entry there. That may be a penalty for him. Epsilon Delta pits as well. And Rocket had the penalty. There you go. I'm assuming Roblox will have, Arix will have the same issue. I'm sorry, mixing up the names here. Still getting used to it. It's my first race with this set of people. We have 5 laps till the end and 5 laps to see whether Kling Kachao can get ahead of GMS play. I think A is a little too far ahead to come under pressure from Kling Kachao, but given the pace he's shown, never say never. We have, there you go. Fancy Locks, I did say somehow or the other he could still end up in the top 10. It would be difficult. He has very old tires. Those around him have brand new tires. But he is temporarily, be it, in P10. Not in P9, have Epsilon and Arix left themselves with enough laps to catch up to and pass these guys. 5 laps. It is possible. It's going to be difficult though. Well, there is a fair bit of field spread. This was an amazing battle, although now I think everybody's taken their positions. Cherry is following Deco, who is following Kling Kachao. These two had a pretty good battle in the sprint, although I think Kling is just settling into a bit of a rhythm here, just wanting to bring it to the end. I think he will be trying his luck and seeing if he can catch up to and pass GMS play. Through 130R we go, and this is a lovely corner. We always love to see it. Let's have a look from D-Dub's perspective. Wow, what a lovely corner this is. Goose 87, he's opted for the hards, he's played it safe, so he will be able to extract, I think, more out of his tires than those around him. Those around him will have to start doing some bit of tire conservation because they're on the mediums, obviously. Goose can keep pushing it to the limit. Almost, I think he can do it every lap from now. He's a second of his personal best, that is alright. VQ pits, I think that is expected. No tire left. Fancy Locks is pitting. I thought he would have taken the gamble to stay out and see what he could do, but nonetheless. Epsilon up into P9. Arix had to serve his penalty. He will be in P10, although he is quite a ways behind VQ. I think that is VQ who is going to emerge ahead. Arix is just wanting to get into the top 10. Rocket in P12. Fancy Locks. Well, he's not that far behind the field. I think he's done a pretty stellar stint on those medium tires. He managed to catch up to the field slightly, and now he finds himself in 13th, not in last place, although he's a lot closer to the back of the field. Up front, this is getting feisty. With 3 laps to go once we cross the line. Kling is slowly but steadily catching up to JMS. And although they're not like right behind him, Deco is also possibly going to catch up to GMS by the end of the race. GMS will be just, I think, wanting to keep it consistent, bring the car home. That's the ideal way to go about it. A in the Lamborghini, exits the final corner. We're about to start lap 18 of this race. Sorry, lap 18. Still setting pretty good personal best. That's very good to see. GMS, I think his style is starting to give up on him. Kling Kachao is setting personal bests. Lap 18 of 20, 3 laps to go, including this one. Deco is a little bit behind Kling Kachao. Cherry is not that far behind either, but I think Cherry will be likely staying where he is. D-Dubs, I think he'll be happy with the P6 start of the season. Goose will not be happy with that spin, although it could yet be P6 possibly. If D-Dub starts struggling with these tires, Goose could still have a chance at P6. Nath, I think, will be happy to get P8. Epsilon is quite a ways behind him, that's what I was trying to say. I don't think Epsilon and V-Cube and all these guys have left themselves with enough laps to catch up to the field. They are on the advantageous tire, but unless these tires fall off a cliff for the likes of Nath and Goose and so on, they are going to stay where they are. There you can see GMS can see in his rear view mirror, even from the car you can see here, GMS can see the Jaguar appearing in the distance, waiting, ready to pounce. Are we going to see a battle? I don't think the race is over yet. We are still about to see a battle for P2. Kling Kachao. It's been an ideal weekend for him. The Danish Jaguar driver. Deco, I think, has fallen back. Cherry's also fallen back a fair bit. As we start the penultimate lap of the race, A has driven an amazing race. While I may be praising Kling as well, we must praise A for his good consistency over the course of the race weekend. Starts the penultimate lap, his lap time is starting to fall off, but that is alright because there's only 2 laps to go, including this one. GMS coming under a lot of pressure, Kling Kachao not too far behind. Deco in P4, Cherry in P5. I think the field order is set. I don't assume we're going to see any changes from position unless possibly Arix gets past V-Cube, or if V-Cube can challenge Epsilon. I think the field is mostly set. This is the battle then that we have to look out for. Lap 19 of 20, penultimate lap. GMS coming under pressure. Hold the tires as well. Kling Kachao will be very eager to make the move now. Through Degna 1 and 2 as we approach the chicane. He's number 14, Kling Kachao. I've just noticed that is Fernando Alonso's number, obviously, in F1. That is a very nice number to have. So, or is that 74? Am I reading it wrong? Oh no, that's 74, my bad, sorry. Never mind. Must be seeing things. Must be the water. Well, speaking of, I haven't seen a single Ferrari in this lobby. So, well, I'm assuming we were missing 2 drivers at the start of the race weekend nonetheless. So, possibly over the next few days, maybe we'll see a Maranello car jump onto the track as well. A is had a dominant drive, and I'm sure he's just gonna want to take the last lap a little cautiously. No need of any penalties, just wanting to bring the car home in P1, just weave across the line, have a nice time. GMS is having to defend now. This is getting spicy, and this is gonna be the last lap. GMS has a bit of a moment there, and that is not the way you want to start the final lap. That's not the way you want to exit the last corner, last chicane. GMS and Kling are going to be side by side, but no, I think GMS's moment has proven to be very costly for him. The Irish driver falls down to P3, Kling Kachao up into P2. It's not over yet though, but I don't assume GMS will be able to do a whole lot against Kling. Deco's too far back to capitalize on that moment from GMS. Although don't discount GMS, we could still see a move being made here possibly, or has GMS also started to have his tires run off a cliff. A has driven a fantastic race, I'm sorry for that. Kling gets into P2. I think he got that with some relative ease. I don't think he expected to be able to get past GMS without having to battle for it, but there you go. Fancy Locks has the fastest lap also. I've just seen that. Deco in P4, GMS is not having a good time on these mediums. I think they are falling off a cliff here. And once they do, the car can really be very problematic. However, they are teammates. I don't expect GMS to give Deco too many problems if Deco does catch up. But I'm sure GMS would like to finish on the podium. A has still fair ways ahead. What about these guys further back? Goose has not been able to catch up to and pass D-Dubs. Not is, I think, just about going to be able to hold on. Whoa, that's a huge crash for Epsilon Delta. What happened there? Degner 2. Well, it caught out Goose before his pit stop, and now it's caught out Epsilon Delta on the very last lap of the race. Putting down the power, Epsilon Delta, oh, he's gone onto the gravel, and that's a very dramatic way to end your race. Epsilon falls on to P10. Arix is too far back, I think, to capitalize on that, although Epsilon does have damage. We cube up into P9. He will not be very happy with how the race has unfolded. I think maybe a slightly different strategy call would have helped him finish maybe P6, P7. But nonetheless, we will not let this take away from... We will go back to focus on A in the Lamborghini. Shirigin, I think that's how you say it. Will come across the line and win the feature race. What a drive by the Lamborghini driver. Kling Kachao finishes P2. What a race weekend for him. JMS finishes in third. Deco in fourth. Cherry just fell back towards the end, just like Deco did a little bit. Cherry finishes in P5. D-Dubs, I think he can be pleased with P6 for the season opener. D-Dubs finishes the race in P6 and starts a season. Goose 87 finishes in P7, not in P8. I think he'll also be pretty happy with that, considering that moment at the start of the race. VQ P9 right at the end, it was getting a bit close, but Epsilon's mistake made it possible for VQ to get P9. Epsilon in 10th. Arix finishes P11. He will be very upset. From the race lead to P11, he's fallen 10 positions over the course of the race. Rocket in P12. And Fancy Locks has the fastest lap and finishes the race in an unlucky 13th. That's not been the ideal start to the season that he would have liked to have. But nonetheless, with that, we conclude this race weekend. That's Suzuka done, and next week we will be going, well, forgive my pronunciation, Alsace. Is that the way to say it? Alsace. Well, I'm not exactly sure what's the correct way to go about it, but it's the French circuit, Alsace Village. I think that's the layout that we're going to be racing at. I don't think I'll be very sure about that. I'll have a look. But nonetheless, thank you to all of you for tuning in. Thank you to all the drivers for providing us with such a wonderfully entertaining race. And we shall see you next week. And thank you, Kling Beast. Thank you very much. Absolutely, eyes onto the next race. Thank you, GMS. We shall see you soon. And thank you. Take care and bye-bye.